Hello, SMG4 just dropped the trailer for his new movie. So I will be speedrunning my way frame by frame to find all the secrets as the algorithm demands it. What are you waiting? Let's go! We start off with a shot of the sunset on the scenery, very reminiscent of the surroundings of the train on the updated version of the Help PSP map. Far away from the cactus, on the next shot, there is a sign just out of our reading sight, but looking closely, it seems to be mostly gibberish to fill space anyway. Maggie arrives on a horse, which is model's origin is probably not important. Maggie also wears her headphones over her cowboy hat, same for her goggles. The trio Mario, Maggie, and Tari seem to be on their way to somewhere, probably relating to the next shot. There, we see the trio facing off what seems to be a gang, composed of Shroomy, Belle, Wimpy, Judge using an oversized sombrero, Old Man Hobo, Rod, and Cheese, surprisingly. This seems to be a perfect recreation of the team they formed on the train to protect their potatoes. Taking that in consideration, Shroomy seems to be the leader of this gang, and I will assume they will be the Potato Gang or something stupid like that. In the next shot, Maggie rolls to her side, seemingly to avoid being left open in the middle of a shoot-off, and then proceeds to draw in her gun. Fun detail, you can see the pistol levitating into her hand if you go frame by frame. Maggie also seems to be wearing a badge usually dedicated to sheriffs, indicating that the wanted posters might be from criminals of power in the region or, of course, you know. We then get a shot of the town, where Bob is getting publicly executed by hanging just like in those first-time memes. Overseeing the execution, we can spot the guards Swagmaster and Chris. In the audience we can see characters like SMG4, SMG3, Melanie, Luigi, Karen, Keizo, and also some oddballs like SMG1, SMG2, and Bowser. The following scene gives a closer look at the audience, where we can see all of the characters dressed in old-fashioned costumes and such, with most characters seemingly enjoying the execution. With the exception of Bowser, who seems shocked, SMG2, who seems depressed, Luigi, who seems nervous, and Keizo, Seiko, and Karen, who all seem bored. Skipping to the part with one shot Ren, a bloody stain is clearly visible on his left cheek, either indicating some sort of scar, or that he was in proximity of someone that was killed, either by him or someone else. That is also odd considering he does have another mark, clearly a scar, right on top of his left eyebrow, in the form of an X. Getting closer to Bob's hanging, we can see that he is smoking an old-fashioned cigar while Swagmaster is wearing a fake white mustache and a sheriff's hat. Chris also seems to be wearing a monocle. We can, of course, also see the lever that will eventually activate the machine that will lift Bob into the air and suffocate him to death. That is if his neck doesn't break first. In the next scene, following the context of the trio's encounter with the Potato Gang, Mario picks up a defeated Jeeves and uses him as a weapon, probably due to him being a giant fucking fork. We then see SMG3 pull out some dynamite sticks and throw them at the camera, signaling that his character might be of a criminal or bank robber. The next scene, with one shot Ren, has him show mannerisms typical to a sycophantic villain giving a monologue, which is not a good sign. We then go back to the trio's encounter with the Potato Gang, just as Maggie is about to initiate the conflict, as she always does. Maggie then encounters Tari in the middle of nowhere, seemingly looking down at nothing. We then cut to an emotional scene between Maggie and Tari, with the two of them appearing to be staying over at a house in Western Spaghetti. Both of them seem to be upset, their conflict probably resulting out of Tari's awareness of the whole situation. In the next shot, Tari is aiming a gun at an unknown figure, with fear and distress in her eyes. This will either be just Tari's overall reluctance at resorting to violence or her paranoia getting to her to a level where she will aim a gun at her own friends, uncertain if they are real or not. In this shot, Mario does a sinister grin while holding down his cowboy hat. This could mean many horrible things, but it's probably just a casual part of the beginning of the episode. Since this sinister Mario grin was done before in episodes such as Mario Goes to Ohio. As Maggie gets off her high horse and walks towards Tari, we get another shot of the trio from, probably, that one part of the episode yet again. We then get a close shot of Shroomy's face, still from that one context. pretty much confirming he will be the game's leader figure. As Maggie holds a Tommy gun, we can see in the back a flyer displaying words that seem to suggest the building it's attached to is closed. It seems to be a public location. Other words that could fill this gap are exposed. We then get a close-up shot of Maggie's shocked face. This seems to happen during the same scene as the one with her and Tari ready to sleep, as the wallpaper behind Maggie seems to be the same. Here a lovely shot is displayed of the entire 2023 main cast being publicly hanged for the exception of Maggie and Tari. Now this is very important. In this scene, Maggie and Tari are standing very close to one another, facing each other until Maggie turns her head with tears falling down her face and a shocked look in her eyes. The next shot seems to happen in the same scene but right before the previous cut, as Maggie is getting very shocked about something but doesn't seem to be crying yet. In the next scene, Tari is looking down at the ground with her hat covering her face and the fact that she has no pupils. We then go back to the bedroom scene as Maggie is no longer wearing any headgear and the wallpaper doesn't match with the one in the crying scene. Here there's a really neat detail. Tari closes the fist of her metal arm but does it so in a way that it almost seems like a spasm, like something out of her control, unnatural. Then we cut to SMG4 pointing at something while clearly distressed, Keizo being seen in the background. We go back to the crying scene for a brief second just so I can mention that the family photo is not SMG4 original and therefore has nothing to do with anything. One shot Ren points his weapon at someone while the camera closes in on his irritated look, indicating an antagonistic presence coming from him. We skip to Mario seemingly ordering a bunch of Mario enemies around, ready to go into battle. Amongst his troops, we can see dry bones, Olympus, bullies, and even Primids from Subspace Emissary. Then we see Bob use his often forgotten ability of replacing his blade hands with other weapons such as the shotguns he wields in this scene. We see Luigi probably taking cover from bullets. We see Karen being shocked, as everyone seems to be in this trailer. Then finally we get back to the crying scene, seemingly at the earliest point yet. Tari is looking at a book with a red cover, her eyes tired and about to burst with tears. We get a shot of Tari in an unknown location, as the background seems to indicate either an emotion or a mind space such as seen in 2021's WOTFI. We now go to the latest point in the crying scene, focusing on Maggie's face as if the revelations in that book were too much for her to bear. Then for some reason, the bedroom scene is shown again. This time, Maggie's face seems to show no concern. We go back to more Mario enemies holding guns. I am not mentioning the new ones, because I am only familiar with one and it's probably not that important. Seiko angrily shoots at an unknown target. We go back to Maggie crying, appalled by what she has witnessed. Fishy Boopkins jumps high into the air, holding a water pistol. Back in the bedroom, Tari rolls over to her side. As Maggie's hand lands on Tari's shoulder, some sort of chromatic aberration seems to happen. A technique often used by other creators such as There Is Something 64.